Hello. If you want to support us here at The Contemporary Gentleman, you can buy into our Spy series, links below. And depending on when this was recorded, we may or may not have an Instagram and or Patreon. If we do, links are below. Cheers. Hello everyone, James Donaldson here, and I'm doing just a quick down and dirty video on my everyday carry items. So I guess we'll start with footwear, and kind of the rest of the outfit goes by where I'm going and what I'm doing. I usually dress up a little nicer, just kind of around. I would figure it's always better to be overdressed than underdressed. I don't wear anything like a suit or anything crazy like that. As really for work, I can wear jeans or shorts or whatever I want most of the time. So, again, it just depends on, but I've got nice shoes, I've got boots, I've got cowboy boots, Solomon's, whatever. So yeah, then for shirts, just kind of goes with that too. Nothing kind of simpler than a V-neck, if you will. It's just a t-shirt. I don't wear anything branded unless I'm just working out or around the house or going somewhere to do manual labor. And then other than that, a lot of polos and button-ups is what I wear. So kind of what you see me wearing here is pretty similar to what I wear a lot of the time. Now, from there, belt, very important because it holds my gun, which we'll get to in a bit. So, Anson belt is really the belt I wear for everything. Now there's a couple exceptions with hunting or things like that, shooting range, but in general, the Anson belt, which does often go to the shooting range, that's what I got on. It clicks, I like that. I like the Anson belt brand. Haven't checked out Core, I'm not too familiar with them. I've heard that they buy their reviews, I don't know if that's true. But anyway, I don't really need to look into them because the Anson belt I have, which is designed for concealed carry, it's got extra rigidity to it on the inside. It's worked for me great, so there's not really a reason to go away from them. Now, getting to kind of the stuff that goes in my pockets, car keys, I drive a F-150, wallet, I like these thin, kind of simple wallets. I stuff some stuff back there I rarely need, pull this little tab, cards come out, I guess I'll link, the brand or whatever, and the description. And cash kind of gets stuck up down there. I don't use cash much. It is a little tricky to get out of there, but at the end of the day, not a big deal. And again, I usually am using a card. I'd like to kind of get away from that in the future, but for right now, it's just how things are. Getting to a light. Now, a light and a knife didn't used to be everyday carry things for me, but over time, I decided to try some things out. Started with one type, went on to another. I had a Streamlight, that little tiny one that was USB rechargeable, and I think it's trash, honestly. And I like some Streamlight products. I think that's trash, and it irritated me a lot. So I ended up with the stilettos from Surefire. Now I've got a video on the stilettos, and I've even kind of progressed a little bit from there in what I said, where I really just love the basic one. Not the Stiletto Pro or the Stiletto Pro 2, but just the basic one. It holds a charge forever, seemingly. It's always plenty of light for me to have. I really just like having the others if I'm trying to impress, or if I'm out in the woods and I need that much light, which is very rare. And if I'm going to the woods, I can always take those. But this is so light because of the polymer body. It does have a metal head here, but polymer body. So it's just so light and manageable and easy to grab. I like the button configuration. I like the programmability. I really like everything about it. The only thing that I like about the Stiletto Pro 2 that the other two don't have is that its USB charger is a USB-C, I think is what it's called, which is what a bunch of cell phones use. So like if I go on a trip, I just need one charger if I'm taking that flashlight. That said, if I'm wearing anything but shorts, it's pretty easy to get away with that bigger flashlight. And really I like the Pro 2 over the Pro because it's not that much bigger or heavier, and you're getting a lot more. Now that said, it gets hot the fastest and the most, and it depletes the battery the fastest versus the Stiletto Pro, or especially this one. This one gets the least hot and gets hot the slowest, which is yet another reason why this is my pick day to day. So from there, started when I went back to carrying a knife every day, which I haven't for probably 20 years. The Kershaw, oh gosh, forgetting what it is. Shit. The chive, I think. Shit, I'll put the words in and put it below. It's kind of irrelevant. So I wanted a everyday carry knife that had a safety. I like the assisted open, but I've had this knife before, and it has a little safety on the bottom. You can hit with your finger and kind of flip it open. Well, somehow, some way, the safety broke. And yes, I could send it to Kershaw and get it fixed, but honestly, I'm not really interested in it because the likelihood of it happening again is probably more than I care for. So I started looking into another knife. Now, the other thing about this is it really stops at your pocket there because of the way the clip is. So I wanted to find something with a clip that let the knife sink further in. So while this is a much bigger knife, it's got a couple things going for it. The loop goes all the way around the top, so it slides all the way into whatever pocket of whatever pants I'm putting it in. It also has a very good safety. It's also very easy to hit. Now this is the SOG Flash AT, and I like this knife a lot. It's one of the best knives I've had, maybe the best. I've got another one I really like, but it is fatter and heavier, and it just wouldn't make sense really for an EDC. I really just use it for army stuff, and even then with the weight, I kind of find myself going to this. So thus far, it's been really great, and I recommend it. So I'll put links on to most all of this down below. And then going from there, watch. I'm a big watch guy. Got a couple videos on watches, which no one seems to really watch. Doesn't upset me. It's kind of like, all right, James, you're a gun channel. You stick to guns. So this is a Marathon. Now the Hager I had that I used to wear pretty much every day, it died a second time less than a year after getting fixed. And for me, while I would have wanted to get it fixed, I just kind of was like, you know, I think this is my sign to upgrade. And so I went to a Marathon. This is the GSAR, and it's the U.S. government model. I'm a nerd. And then I'd like the anthracite, but I got this one. And then I've got the rubber strap on it right now because my wife said that the NATO band made it look like a kid's watch. But then a poll on Instagram showed me that 80% of people believe that it does not. And so too bad for her. So I'll probably go back to the NATO band because honestly, it's a little more comfortable than this rubber strap. But that said, the rubber strap is really well made, and it works pretty well. So anyway, Marathon, big fan of this watch and their other watches. I'll probably get some kind of more elegant, dressier watch at some point, but this is at least going to pull most of the duties that the Hager was pulling. There's a lot of reasons I'm not into the digital watches and everything. I have a Garmin watch. It's really just for when I work out and some army things, but not even all. I really like wearing this kind of watch for pretty much everything. So, yeah, not much else to say. The Hager, I do want to note, I put it through way more than it was designed to handle. When I told them what I did to that watch, and they were like, they were impressed that it survived all that. You know, it being an automatic watch, the rotator, they have to be real heavy duty if they're going to be used for military stuff, like the vibration of a 50 cal. And I fired that, I went to a 50 cal range, at least 2 or 3 in the time that I owned it, let alone other crew serve ranges, let alone all the other shooting I do for the YouTube channel and personal shooting. It survived a ton. So, anyway, but now we're on to the Marathon. Super excited about it, love it. That's a couple things I did prefer with the Hager, but good deal. So, now let's get into what everyone wants to see. We've got my concealed carry pistol. I recently went back to Glock from the SIG P365 XL. If you want to see why, you can watch that video. But basically, I wasn't getting any more concealability from this. Granted, they both have optics. It'd be a little different if I didn't have optics on there or something. But and I was giving up a lot of things to go to that size. Wasn't getting concealability back. So why? So Glock 19 with an Acro on it. Now there's a caveat to that. This slide started life as a Glock 45, so it does say Glock 45 on it. And when I was went to the P365. It was from the Glock 45 that I was carrying every day, and I was one of those guys that tried carrying with an X300. It just wasn't working for me, so I did a little experimentation of pistol lights, landed on the TLR7 Alpha, and then had went from the Donaldson 509T to the Acro, and I will be sticking with the Acro. I'll do a video on why in a bit. But anyway, I do have a video on the 509T at least, and you can kind of get some of my thoughts and understand how I'm looking at things from there. But I've got Ameriglow sights because they are my favorite Glock sights, and that's really it. I really keep my guns pretty stock, other than adding these things and switching out the sights. I just have blacked out sights. That's it. I started with a 17, or years ago, had a 17, carried that for a couple of years, went to the 45. No interest in going back to 17. I just group better, shoot better with the 45. So I really like it. And then at the point I just wanted to shave off a little more, I went to the P365, and then was like, I don't think I'm really getting much. Maybe I just need to go to a Glock 19. And I really think this is where I'm going to stay. Now, having these two out, Glock 19 slide, because all I do is buy Glock 19, swap out the slides, so I didn't have to re-zero anything, so why? But basically, this lower is set up for more night vision shooting at the range, all that kind of stuff, whereas this is a concealed carry lower, so I just switch the slides depending on what I'm going to do and which lower grip I want. Every once in a while I have pulled this off and thrown an extra TLR7 Alpha light on it, because I knew I'd be able to get away with a little more grip. But really at the end of the day, if I'm going to carry this, I'm just going to keep the X300 on it, because I'm probably going to be in a situation where I'm not going to sit down much, which is really the only time the X300 is an issue, carrying it appendix. So yeah, I mean, so like for Halloween, I was going trick-or-treating with the kids, party, knew I'd be staying the whole time, thought, oh, Halloween would be out at dark, I'd really like some more horsepower. So I think I actually even, because I wasn't going to need IR light, I put my turbo on there, and then carried it like that. So anyway, I really like that feature, of Glocks being able to switch the slides around and keeping things easy. So as far as holster, I use an LAS holster. I've used these for a while. I just like their designs. I like the way they fit. They're very smooth. I've had a number of these, so I kind of have different configurations depending on what Glock I'm carrying and how I'm configuring it. And I don't really need to look into another holster. I like having the magazine and the gun separate for a variety of reasons. What if I get a new belt? What if I get, different pants? Or what if I got to change the belt? And so everything's going to sit in different places and congruence to the belt loops and things. Gain weight, lose weight, that tail of the belt moves, all that kind of stuff. So that's just how I prefer it. Going from there, spare magazine. This is an interestingly controversial thing. I'm surprised to see how many people and what people will say they don't carry an extra mag. Now, I'm going to bring this video to a close explaining why I carry an extra mag. Okay, so it's not that I'm convinced or really even think that I might end up in a scenario where I'm going to go through all 15 rounds and then need more. That's not why. So the first and foremost reason is that if your magazine fails and you don't have a spare, you are fucked. Now someone might say, well, if your magazine fails to feed and your gun doesn't cycle, and you're going to be fucked in a shootout anyway. Not necessarily. There's a lot of variables, many of which are cover and concealment, cover being the most important one. So if you're able to get cover, if you're just firing from cover and you haven't been shot yet and you're behind cover and you notice your gun looks like this and then you're screwing with it and it's not, switch out your magazine then. Bingo. So no, I think it's pretty important to carry an extra magazine. That's just me. Now, the second reason is that if I have to draw my weapon and I fire, get through however many rounds, and then get to a point where I have a break in the action, I'm of the mentality that I should be reloading. even if I'm not zeroed out. Because if I get another engagement, I'd rather start that engagement with a full magazine than an unknown number of rounds. You, in a situation like that, with the adrenaline and everything, you're probably going to fire more rounds than you realize. You might think, oh, I shot 5 rounds, and then turns out you actually shot, 8 or 11 or whatever. So I want to be able to re-engage with a fresh magazine. So that's my EDC, at least as of right now. So this has been James Donaldson with The Contemporary Gentleman, and until next time, keep your composure.